film which you are about to see is an account of the tragedy which befell a group of 5 youths, in particular Sally Hardesty and her invalid brother Franklin. It is all the more tragic in that they were young, but had they lived very, very long lives, they could not have expected, nor would they have wished to see as much of the mad and macabre as they were to see that day. For them, an idyllic summer afternoon drive became a nightmare. The events of that day were to lead to the discovery of one of the most bizarre crimes in the annals of American history, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Today on Sinder's Playground, I will give you a brief history of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise and my thoughts on all the films and why I like it so much. So, stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to Sinder's Playground. I am your host, Sinder.
And I'm Jose.
And today, Jose, man, doing one of my favorite horror franchises. That is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I'll ask you one question before we start. Okay, first time seeing it, and then was your first experience the original film?
Yes.
Okay, so the first time you saw Texas was the original film?
Yeah, at home.
Okay, and what were your thoughts after viewing that picture?
I never want to go to Texas.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of people's impression after watching that. Like, yeah, I'm not going to Texas.
Yeah, I was like, nah.
Nah, man. You know,
No. South isn't for me.
Yeah, man.
Nope.
Like I said, man, okay, so first, my experience with this franchise was the first original film. Saw it at home. My brother was, what you call it? He was a horror freak too, and like I said, and he's seen it multiple times. So this was the age where VHS tapes were a thing. I know I'm really dating myself, but I don't care. But so he was like one of those people who would rent the same movie like over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he would always rent that. Right? So like one weekend he rented it, then he brought a couple of his friends over. They were like drinking and shit, and then I mean, I know we all been there. What you call it when you have an older sibling? You just want to hang out with them because they're cool. You think they're cool and like everything. So I was hanging out with them, and then they start watching it, and then that scared me. I was like, oh, but I stayed to the end though, just to prove my coolness. But yeah, I had trouble sleeping for a few days after that, for sure, man.
Damn.
But so yeah, that was my first experience. But enough of reminiscing. I'm gonna tell you guys about the history of this franchise. And, yes. All right, here we go. So, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is an American horror franchise consisting of 9 films, comic books, t-shirts, figurines, statues, and much more memorabilia. The franchise focuses on a cannibalistic killer, Leatherface, and his family, who terrorize unsuspecting visitors to their territories in the desolate Texas countryside, killing and subsequently cooking and eating them. All right, that's a quick overview of what this series is about. Now, we're going to go into the original 1974 film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The concept for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre arose in the early 1970s while Tobe Hooper, was working as an assistant film director at the University of Texas in Austin, and as a documentary cameraman. Um, he had already developed a story involving elements of isolation and in the woods and darkness. Um, he credited the uh, graphic violence that you see to the coverage of news outlets that were covering the Vietnam War at the time, because like back then, I don't know if you know, but like coverage of the war, I mean, they would show like people like guts open and shit like that and
Oh,
everything
wow.
like that, man. Obviously way more like brutal than with the news we see today, because especially today when I say that, because everybody's so sensitive and God forbid you offend anybody, but nah, like that, they would show like dead soldiers on the ground and shit, man, and everything like that, man. So he kind of drew from that, and also taking inspiration from the real life case of Ed Gein, who was famously, you know um sewing people's skin, to not to his face, but like, just making human mannequins and putting other people's skin on it and everything like that. And yes, he did have furniture made of bones and shit in his house. So a lot of that comes from Ed Gein, and also the film Psycho, the original Psycho, obviously. Um, Um, Toby would use the working title Leatherface. Hooper has cited changes in the culture and political landscape as central influences on the film. So, like I said, he did kind of want to send a message to, like, I don't know, the youth at the time, everything like that, man, because he was like an anti. What's the word I'm looking for? Anti-establishment. That's the word I was looking for. Anti-establishment. So he felt like his film was like going against the grain of what you know you should view as a movie, and everything like that. So, which I give him props for, because I like rebels, because I consider myself a rebel. So yeah, I like when people go against the grain, man. So, like I said, that was his focus. Um, his his intentional misunderstanding that was the film you are about to see is true. As a response to being lied to by the government throughout the years. So basically, even though this story is not 100% true, what you call it, he put that tag on there because, one, he knew it would get people in there, and two, he's just using it as a lie, because, like, well, if the government can lie, I can lie. Yeah, I can lie. Okay. Um. Uh. So yeah, about responses to the being lied to by the government about things that were going on all over the world, including Watergate, the 1973 oil crisis, and the massacre at oh, I forgot. The massacre at some city. I forgot what it was. Well, I didn't write it down. Sorry. It's fine. It's my words. And of course, as I mentioned, the Vietnam War. Um, Hooper noticed while watching the local news, whose graphic coverage of the war showing brains being spilled out and the and over that year, or years, I should say, because the war took a couple of years. That man was the real monster. Here, just hearing, I mean, just wearing a different face. So I put a literal mask on the monster in my film. The idea of using chainsaw as the murder weapon came to Hooper while he was in a hardware store comparing speeds of different saws. Toby Hooper and Kim Henkel co-wrote the screenplay and formed Vortex Entertainment, with Henkel serving as the president and Hooper serving as vice president. The production manager on the film, Ron Bosman, told the cast and crew that they would defer part of their salaries until the film was actually distributed. Hooper, not wanting to keep, wanting to keep morale up, told the cast and crew, that they would get potential profits from the movie, and from whatever money it made. Uh, just about all of the cast were virtually unknowns, Texans who had played in roles in commercials, television, and some stage shows. Uh, the lead role was given to Marilyn Burns, who played Sally, had previous experience. All right, I'm gonna pause there for a second. So, what do you call it? The fact that, he was seeing all this shit on television, not feeling good about anything, but he was like in the film business. Well, not the film business, but he was going to school for film and stuff like that, and wanted to make this, against the grain film, about doing a commentary on society, and using just, locals and stuff like that. So what do you think about that? That's kind of like the genesis of this whole thing.
I think it's cool. I like it. It's original.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it paid off because the movie was great. But I like that that's how he went about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, okay, so Gunnar Hansen was selected to play the role of Leatherface. Now, he was very small as far as like now being known in Hollywood and stuff like that, but he's probably the only one who had experience out of everybody in the cast. Okay. Whew. He regarded Leatherface as having an intellect disability. That's how he categorized it, and never learning how to properly speak, because he never went to school. To do research for his character, Hansen visited special needs schools and watched how the students moved and spoke. Most of the film took place in 1900s farmhouse located on the Quick Hill Road near Road Rock, Texas. The small budget and concerns over high cost equipment rentals meant the crew filmed 7 days a week, up to 16-hour days. The environment was humid, and the cast said shooting was cruel. Cruel conditions. Tough temperatures peaked at 110 degrees. Hansen would say later that it was literally 100 degrees every day in filming, and they wouldn't wash my costume because they afraid the laundry would lose it. And that and not only that, he said they were afraid the laundry would lose it, or it would change the color of my costume. So what we see, he's wearing that all through, and they shot that for like a month.
Oh, man. And that
heat
is crazy.
Oh, he must have smelled like death.
Shit.
Oh my god, bro. But we're not done. There's more shit about this film, about this they didn't have money for a second costume, so I wore that mask 12 to 16 hours each day, 7 days a week for a month. Oh god. The film was shot using Claire NPR 16mm cameras. This, however, allowed more mobility and cost-saving measures. Overshooting on the standard theatrical 35mm format at the time. So, they didn't do the industry standard, the 35mm. They went a different route, man, because it was less expensive, because he was working on a budget, obviously. As we know, most of the film was shot at the farmhouse, which was filled with furniture constructed from animal bones and latex materials. The house had no air conditioner. There was little ventilation. The crew covered the walls in droplets of animal blood they got from local slaughterhouses. The art director of the film, Robert A. Burns, drove around the countryside and collecting the remains of cattle carcasses and other animals in various stages of decomposition, which to litter the floor with in the house. All right, I'm gonna stop there for a second. What do you think about that?
Not only do they smell like shit from that doing laundry, they literally have
real animal carcasses in the house.
Decomposing in the house. That's not safe.
I can't even imagine the smell. And I said this like on more than one occasion, but like just looking at that film, even up to this day, I just feel dirty watching it. Not dirty because like, oh, I'm watching something nasty. No, dirty like, ugh, I just feel nasty. I just feel nasty. And now I know why. Now I know why. Oh God. All right, hold on. I lost my spot.
The housemans never smelled right.
Oh,
after that.
I'm sure. Like, I'm sure it took a long time to get rid of that sense, bro. Like I said. Oh. So like this. So this guy Burns, he was one of the. He was the old man. He played Grandpa, and what do you call it? And okay, so Burns would later say his costume was so drenched in blood that by the end of shooting, his costume was literally solid.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Nah, man. I can't, bro. Because they don't have costumes. They're using the one costume for each character. So, like I said, all those takes of you getting blood splattered on you or anything, and they're not washing it, it's gonna cake. It is gonna harden. Yeah. Okay, so a little bit more fun facts about this film. The scene where Leatherface dismembers Kurt while Kurt he was worried that that gunner would like literally hit him. But they didn't have a stunt coordinator, but Gunner has done stunt work before because that's basically what he did before doing this film. He was pretty much a stuntman, and then he told him he was just like it's like, when we're shooting this, do not move unless you don't want to live today. That's what he told them. I'm just like, wow. So really playing a cast and loose again. This is not filmed like with a union on set or anything like that, man. No security measures are taken. They're just doing it from the hip,
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, bro. So what's good? So in the scene, Hansen brought the running chainsaw within 3 inches of his face.
Damn.
And what's called? Yeah, like I said. I mean, what did that happen to you, man? You probably poop yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie is for me.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm done.
Just have me die off in the beginning. I'm fine with it. Just cut me short.
Okay, so the iconic scene where Leatherface opens the door and hits one of the actors in the head with a hammer was a real hammer used in the scene. What you call it? But obviously he didn't hit him. What do you call it? And to say the shoot was dangerous is an understatement. Hooper noticed at the rap party after everything was done. Everything was done. Yeah, there were some injuries to the cast and crew. He also stated that everyone hated me by the end of production. And it took years for them to forgive me. It would be many years for them. Yeah, he said it would take many years for them to forgive me. I'm like, yeah. Stinky costumes, smelly house, no ventilation, no security measures, using animal carcasses, real ones. Yeah. I would have been a little piffed too. Would have been a while for me to forgive you, bro.
I mean, it's all about the ends.
Okay, now more in this film. Post-production. So, the production exceeded the original $60,000. That's how much they penciled it in for. Till this day, and I tried looking it up, no one knows the exact number of the budget of the film. Okay, Warren Saccharin, then head of the Texas Film Commission, helped source the distribution of the film with Bryson Distribution Company. Then on August 28th, 1974, Louis Perano agreed to distribute the film worldwide after lawyers, accountants, and the state of Texas were paid. There was only $8,000 left to divide between the cast and crew.
Damn.
So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre premiered in Austin, Texas on October 1st, 1974. Almost a year after the filming had concluded. It screened nationally in the United States as well as a Saturday afternoon matinee. In its false marketing based on a true story helped it attract a more broader audience. 8 years the film was annually released, during Halloween. Eventually, it would gross $30 million in the United States and in Canada combined. That's good. Toby Hooper, Toby Hooper hoped that the Motion Picture Association of America would give the completed uncut release, but they didn't. So he had to make a cut. So he had to make cuts in the film just to make it a PG film. But it wasn't PG. Oh no, I'm sorry. What's that? Toby wanted it to be a PG for broader audience, like I said. But after showing it to the film commission, they were like, nope. And then and it was given an X actually. But then he cut some scenes out of it, and then the MPAA gave it an R after the cuts. One theater, however, represented the full uncut version under the R. And this was in San Francisco. And cinema goers walked into the actual uncut version. Little side note to its release. In February 1976, 2 theaters in Ottawa, Canada, were advised by law enforcement to withdraw the film from their theater or face charges of immortality. Morality. I'm sorry. Morality. And then finally, not finally, but then in 1983, New Line Cinema acquired the distribution rights. But now, as I'm recording this today, Legendary Pictures has the rights to the film. Okay, that's all about the first one.
Wait, so what happened when they released that uncut?
Oh, they didn't know. They thought that was
San Francisco.
Yeah.
But what happened? Like, did they go crazy in there?
No, I mean, for this, people were just like, it's a horror movie. It was like, there was like, I mean, I don't think it was like exorcist stuff when people like pass it out or anything, but I'm sure people walked out. But I didn't see any articles about that or anything like that. But what do you think about the 2 places in Canada that were told to drop it from their rotation?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is really. Yeah, I was gonna say, wow. Yeah, there it is. All right, sir. Moving on. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is a 1986 American dark comedy slasher film directed and written by Toby Hooper, starring Dennis Hopper, Caroline Williams, Bill Johnson as Leatherface, and Bill Moseley. Now, see, I thought Gunnar Hansen did it in the second one too, which I didn't know. So Bill Johnson was Leatherface in the second one. So the plot follows a radio host who was victimized, tortured, and captured by the Leatherface and his cannibalistic family, while a Texas marshal, played by Dennis Hopper, hunts them down. It had a budget of $4 million and made $8 million in the United States. Again, this one wasn't internationally distributed. But not until the home release in cable television did the film become a cult classic. Now, again, I remember this one too. At home, actually watching it on cable. And I don't know if I watched it by myself or with my brother. But yeah, again, just bad. Sleepless nights again for me on that one. Now, have you seen this one? Too?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. what you call it? I don't know. I kind of don't like him in this one. Leatherface, I mean. Um, One, I don't like his wearing a suit because I think that goes against his character. You know. Two, I don't know. He just seems not menacing as he is in the first one, in the original one. If that makes any sense, you know. So listen. But yeah, that's all I got for the second one. Hold on. Cinder needs to get a drink.
Commercial break.
I am doing a lot of talking. All right, now this one, Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, was released in 1990, directed by Jeff Burr, who also did Stepfather 1 and 2 and Puppet Master 4 and 5, and he also did Pumpkinhead 1 and 2. So this guy was into his horror. So actually, they actually picked somebody who knows what they're doing. This film starred Kate Hodge, William Butler, Tim Hudson, and Viggo Mortensen, which I didn't know. And R. Wait, do you even know who Viggo Mortensen is?
No.
Oh my god. So
Or maybe just
Alakar from Lord of the Rings, man.
okay.
Lord of the Rings, man. And R.A. Maloff as Leatherface. Again, somebody else changing. Somebody else was carrying the chainsaw. This film follows Leatherface and his cannibalistic family stalking a couple in the backwoods of Texas. Again, couldn't find the budget on this one either. But it grossed $6 million in the U.S. Again, not distributed internationally. What do you call it? This I didn't see this one. I thought I did, but I didn't. Yeah, I didn't see this one. Yeah, because it's called Leatherface, and then the subtitle is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. So yeah, so I have to check this one. I have to watch this. Maybe something from our weekend viewing this weekend. Oh boy. All right, man. We wouldn't get another Texas one until 1995, and that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. This had a budget of $600,000 and grossed $186,000. Directed and written by Kim Henkel, who wrote the original film with Tobe Hooper. Now, I'm gonna pause there for a second. Now, I talked about this when we talked about the Predator. We had the Predator episode where somebody who worked on the original Predator worked on the last one, and it was shit. Well, not the last one. Last one was Prey. The one before Prey. And then we're like, how did you make such a bad film when you were part of the best one? Again, Kim Henkel, who helped Tobe write the original film, and she directed this one. Oh, what you want? Yeah, and she wrote and directed this one, and you came up with this. I don't. Maybe these people are seeing something different than we're seeing as an audience. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. Get it, man. Like I said, and you actually was rolling cameras on this and thinking this was good. It was like, oh man, the Texas fans are gonna love this. It's like, no, nobody likes this one. Nobody likes this one. Okay, that's all I got about that. I mean, I didn't even bother writing any stats or anything like that because that film is horrible. Like I said, if you want to get into Texas and you haven't before, you can skip this one. But then, what you call it? We wouldn't get another Texas film until 2003, the reboot. This Texas Chainsaw Massacre was directed by Marcus Nipsel, who also directed the Friday the 13th reboot and the Conan the Barbarian reboot. So, again, this is a guy who likes doing other people's stuff. You know, of course, starring Jessica Biel, Jonathan Tucker, Eric Larson, Mike Vargel, and Andrew. I'm going to mess up your name, bro. Andrew Barnarski. Brynarski. Yeah, Brynarski. I think that's how you say it. This guy was Leatherface. Now, I'm going to pause here for a second because this guy in these films,
Yeah.
to me, he's the best. The best. Even though I have all the respect to work for Gunnar Hansen, he was the original, he's the OG. I have his autograph, like I said. But this guy, I think he was menacing. He was big, intimidating, and scary. What Leatherface should be, in my opinion. So I think this guy did the best job. So Andrew, hats off to you, sir. Like I said, did a phenomenal job. Like I said, if they ever decide to do this again, they should give you a call. My personal opinion. This film follows a group of young adults traveling to a concert and going through Texas. They stop for gas, and from there, things just go horribly wrong. The film actually brought people from the original to assist in the making of the film as well. Toby Hooper and Kim Henkel served as co-producers. John Larroquette reprised his role as the opening narrator, as he did in the first one. Side note to John Larroquette, though, in the first film, he was paid to do that voiceover for the original opening monologue in weed. It was the 70s, I'm just saying. The film was got mostly negative reviews from critics, but horror fans seemed to enjoy it. It had a budget of $9 million, but grossed $110 million. So let me pause there for a second because, again, I'm sure you know this about me, even though I never directly said it to you, but I give no shits about film critics or reviews or fucking Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that. I know what I like. You know what I mean? I have a pretty good sense from a trailer or multiple trailers if I would enjoy a certain film, and all these people, well, not all these people, but most people, they looked like Rotten Tomatoes, or their favorite film critic was like, oh, well, they said it was,
Yeah.
they said it wasn't good. Oh, I guess I'm not watching this, man. So the fact that critics didn't like this film, but yet the horror fans came out to support it and watched it. I have to admit, this is another film I saw multiple times in the theater because, one, I worked at a theater at the time, so it was free. But two, I enjoyed watching it. It was a great film for a horror fan. To me, it had the suspense, the horror, the gore. I thought it was shot well. I thought the pacing was nice, man. Like I said, it might be the perfect Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. It might be. Right before I go on to the next one, what do you think about this film?
I think it's one of my favorites.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the way the story was made.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't really pay attention to the critics. I watch whatever I want to watch, and
yeah,
if I like it, I like it. If I don't, then I know I don't like it. I'm not gonna take somebody's word on whether or not I should like it.
Yeah. What's it?
And yeah,
right.
I'm glad people.
Well, the fans came out.
Yeah, and we're like, yeah, fuck what you think.
Yeah, what's called? This is Texas Chainsaw, and we going to see it. You know what I mean? So I'm glad it made triple fucking its budget, which is awesome. Like I said, it was awesome.
Definitely think Jessica Biel had something to do with it.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie. She was a draw for me too. I'm not gonna lie, because I may have said this on another show, but there was a time where I would have done anything to be with her. Just one night. One night with her, I would have done anything, man. I would have killed a man for her, bro. Kill the man for her, man. Like I said, chop off my own arm. Or any kind of, ligament, if you will. Like I said, just for one night. That's all I want, man. It'll be totally worth it. Today, not so much. Today, not so much, man. Well, Scarlett has taken that mantle from her. So yeah. Now, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Beginning, came out in 2006 and is a prequel to the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. It was directed by Jonathan Leisman, who, looking at his credits, The only thing worth noting that he did is something called Darkness Falls, which came out in 2003, which I never heard of, but apparently it won a whole bunch of awards. I'm still not gonna watch it, but yeah. So they got this guy to write it. I mean, to direct. Okay, it was written by Sheldon Turner. Toby Hooper and Tim Henkel return as producers of the film as well. This one starred Jonathan. Oh, I'm sorry, not Jonathan. Sorry, Jordana Brewster, Taylor Handy, Diara Bird, and Andrew Bernesky reprising his role as Leatherface. And I put this in my notes literally as when I finished writing that, I was like, oh, I forgot to mention R.E. Remy, who played the cop in these two films. You know who that is, that old guy. Who's like the drill sergeant dude. That guy, man?
He has that voice.
Yeah, he has that distinct voice. So when I was writing, I was like, damn, I can't believe I forgot this dude, man. You like stole the show pretty much, man. Like I said, in the scenes that didn't have Leatherface in it, and he was in it, I was like, oh, he was like dude, he's killing it. Killing it. Little side note, though, about this guy. Do you know he does voice work? He did voice work for Billy and Mandy. He's been in all 3 Toy Stories, because I think he's the Green Army Man. From the Toy, yeah, he's the Green Army Man from Toy Story, Oh. And of course, the first time I saw him was in Full Metal Jacket, probably my favorite military film. Arguably, it's like that, Platoon, and Apocalypse Now. For me, those are my 3 military films that I like. But Jacket's probably my favorite. Full Metal Jacket's my favorite, bro. And I know you never seen any of those films, have you?
I don't think so.
Full Metal Jacket. That's the one where he's actually literally a drill instructor, and he has like a group of like new cadets, and bro, he just.
Is that one like a comedy?
No, it's serious. No, he puts them through shit, man. Like he does terrible things. terrible things. Yeah, you literally, if you watch it, you really hate him as a human being. Like I said, but that's how good his performance was, though. I'm like, man, So anyway, like I said, I just wanted to point him out, man, because like he's really good at what he does, and I think, like I said, they got him in these, 2 reboot films, man. And I was like, bro, he chewed up every scene he was in, bro. He's awesome. This film, though, it had a budget of $16 million and grossed $52 million, half of what the previous film made. Side note, though, New Line Cinema had to pay an extra $3 million on top of their original purchase of the franchise. Why? Because Dimension Films put in a bid to acquire the rights for the movie. So I'm gonna pause there for a second. So I didn't even know that was a thing. If you have the rights to someone, somebody can just come in and like, all right, they pay how much? Okay, we're gonna double that. And literally can be taken away from them. Now, again, this is like early 2000s. I don't know if things are still the same now, but like that's cool. Somebody can just swoop in. It's like, oh, you got the Texas Chainsaw rights? No, I think we want that. We're Dimension Films. We do the Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. We should have this in our house. In
our catalog.
Yeah, this in our house. So I pointed that out because I thought that was interesting. I'm like, man, so they could have had that swiped away. Yeah, but if they didn't put up that money, Now, going on, you got Texas Chainsaw 3D. Was released in 2013. Directed by John. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Directed by John Lucenhop. Was written by Andy Marcus. Oh, Adam Marcus. I'm sorry. It starred Alexander Daddario, Scott Eastwood, which I didn't know he was in that. That's Clint Eastwood's son. What'd you call it? Tiana Raymond and Dan Yeager takes up the mantle as Leatherface. Plus, this has small roles by Bill Moseley and Gunnar Hansen, 2 people who were in the original film. What do you call it? This had a budget of $20 million, and it made $47 million. Pause. I didn't see this one either.
What?
Yeah, I didn't see 3D, so I didn't see Leather. I didn't see 3, and so the two I didn't see were 3s. I didn't see the original third one, and I didn't see the reboot third one. So yeah, which is weird. So after I definitely have to watch this to call myself a fan, you know. But this one centers on a young woman who is discovers she's adopted, and after learning this, she learns who her true parents are and inherits a house. So her boyfriend, and a couple of her friends go to see the house and kind of claim it, since it's hers. But what she doesn't know is who her family really is, and that one member is still living in the house. When that member is Mr. Hewitt, also known as Leatherface, who's still in the house now. I actually remember seeing trailers for this, but like I said, I never saw this one. But what do you think about that for a second, though? That they kind of went that route instead of just doing the whole, people just passing through. Yeah, people just passing through.
No, I like this one. I saw this one. I remember.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You liked it?
Yeah, I liked it.
Oh, see, I have to see this one. What's it called? All right. Nice. All right. Now, go. Next one.
You should have watched this one. It's pretty good.
I know. It just passed me by, man. It passed me by, man.
Disappointed. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, it's good. Actually, it's pretty good that you didn't see it because there hasn't been that many good horror movies that come out recently. So it's kind of like watching a remake come out by.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be new to me when I go watch it. So definitely, I have to do that too. I did this a couple years ago, because I was horror depraved, so I was just looking up international horror films I should watch, and I just made a list, and I went through the list. So I think I'm gonna do that after we finish here. Just make a list of horror movies that I missed, or skipped out on that I need to watch. So these two are definitely going on the list. But sorry, folks, it got sidetracked. But anyway, going on. Leatherface was released in 2017. Do you remember this one? I don't remember this shit.
Well, what's the story about?
All right, hold on. This one was directed by Julian Murray and Alexander Bistro. And it was written by Zess Sherwood and starring Stephen Dorff, Lily Tyler, Vanessa Grace, and Sam Strike as Leatherface. That's a porn name. Again, had no budget, and it grossed $1 million. Oh, so doing my research, I learned that the director didn't want his film to go with the remakes, so to have them connect. He wanted his film to be a prequel of the original 1974 film, which I have no idea why. Which I have no idea why, But yeah, that's all I have for this one. It's just this one was totally under the radar. You never heard of this one.
Yeah, no, I never heard of it.
Neither
I
have I.
saw it either.
Yeah, I never heard of this one either. In 2017.
It looks like it's it does look like a prequel.
Okay. All right. So, all right. So I got to put this on the list then.
Yeah, I want to watch it.
So I'm guessing this is him growing up, I would assume.
Yeah.
All right. Which is fine. All right, sir. That was 2017, so you know what time it is, right? Now we come to 2022's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Produced by Legendary Pictures and distributed by Netflix. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know where to start with this one, to be honest. I bet the one I just read to you is better than the 2022 one, and I haven't even seen it. I bet you it is, directed by David Blue Garcia. His middle name is Blue. His middle name is Blue. Oh man, the man does not even have a Wikipedia page, man. I literally had to go to IMDb to look him up.
Oh, my
This Texas Chainsaw Massacre is his second film he's ever directed.
Really?
So Netflix and Legendary Pictures decided they would take a man who's only made one film to try to revitalize the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Oh, again, the stupidity of Hollywood executives. I mean, I don't get it, man. I mean, like I said, it doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, bro. How was that, man? You know, the film is terrible and an insult to the franchise. I may have to watch The Next Generation to see which one is worse, in my opinion.
Damn.
Because I don't know if anything would be worse than this one, man. It is really bad. And I was hyped for this, man. You saw me. I was posting on my social media, man. It's like, oh, man, Texas is coming. It's coming to Netflix, man. I was hyped because, again, I'm a fan of the franchise, man. You know, and I know they're all not gems, but, you know, I'm saying, all right, Netflix. You got Legendary Pictures, you know, backing you on this one, man. And they usually do good stuff, you know. And even though Netflix's track record, especially in the last 5 years, has been horrendous. But I would like to think Legendary Pictures would be like, okay, this is our, franchise, so we want to take care of it and everything like that, man. Or they just gave it to him and was like, all right, do whatever you want with it. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened. But this might be the worst horror film I've ever watched in my life. I only say that because I'm a fan, you know. Because I've told you, was that movie I told you I walked out of, House of the Dead? That was pretty bad too. But I don't know if I consider that a true horror film. You know, it was just bad. This is a zombie film. I don't know if you consider zombie horror, you know, that's just nitpicking or whatever. But now it's horrendous. Have you ever seen a horror movie where you wanted all the normal people to be killed? That was
How bad it was?
That's what it was for me, man. Like I said, I mean, don't get me wrong. I just like seeing horrible things happen to people regardless, but to the point where I'm rooting for the murderer to kill everybody because they're horrible people. I'm like, yeah, that's not how you do horror, in my opinion. Like I said, if you're cheering for the murderer, you know, you're doing something wrong. And speaking of which, this guy was terrible. That's other face. Like I said, I didn't even bother taking the time to look him up because I don't want to give him any credit or recognition because his performance was horrendous. What's it called? The entire cast was horrendous. This fucking guy, David Blue Garcia. Yeah, I hope you never work in Hollywood ever again.
Damn.
Because you soiled something that was very dear. Soiled it. Very near and dear to my heart. What you call it. And again, like I said, bad films come out. We know this, man. But then my thing is, if you take something that's established, has a fan base, man, and then you fuck it up, that makes you doubly not doubly, but that makes me hate you even more, as I meant to say. That's why I hate Rian Johnson so much. Because what he did to Star Wars. You know, even though he hasn't had a long film career, but the fact that you fucked up Star Wars makes me hate you even more. And now this fucking guy with your second fucking film fucking up the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise that's, again, dear to my heart, you know, and you just came out with this shit, man. You know, it's terrible. So you said you never saw this?
No, I saw it.
Oh, you did? And wait.
I agree.
I was gonna say, tell me what you think, man. Am I overreacting?
No.
No. You know what do you call it? Is it the worst horror film you've ever seen?
Top 3.
It's in the conversation. Yeah. All right. I got you. Yeah, it's horrendous, man. Oh, you know what else is in my conversation? That Hellraiser reboot too. Again, but that was on Hulu though, right?
Yeah, that was on Hulu.
Yeah, Hellraiser. Yeah, another franchise. Oh man, we did a Hellraiser episode, right?
Yeah. That
Oh,
was probably one of our first.
yeah, we did one. Like, did I mention that?
No, that didn't come out at the time.
Oh,
That was fresh on the heels.
Ooh, I might do a dissection of that whole movie. We might get a special episode of a whole dissection of the 2022's Hellraiser, just because I want to bitch about that one. I just do. So, like I said, that'll probably drop during Halloween. So, I mean, in October, I should say, in October sometime. So, yeah, no, I definitely want to do that. I definitely want to do that.
Add it to the list.
Okay. All right. Questions for you, sir. So, after going through this film franchise, are there any ones are you curious to watch now that you haven't seen?
I want to see the prequel one.
Being the 2017 Leatherface?
Yeah.
Okay. Now much good. Well, like I said, I got to see 3D, and I have to see the original number 3. And yeah, I guess Leatherface too. I got to see this because, like, yeah, I never heard of this. That 2017 one. Have you?
Yeah, me neither.
So, like I said, I mean, I'm sure I would have went out to see it if I heard about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, it's Texas. You know. But yeah, totally floated on the radar, man. I'm guessing this one wasn't like widely distributed. You know what I mean? That's probably why we didn't hear about it. But it's fine. Okay, so out of the ones you've seen, which one is your favorite?
The one with Jessica Biel.
Yeah, the reboot. Yep. I agree. Why do you like the franchise? And I'll tell you my answer after this.
Because it's based off a true story. Nah, I just like the story. It's unique. It brings a little bit of humanity into it, which makes it scarier. You know, and just all the scenes, like the brutal killing, like the fact that the whole town isn't safe.
Pretty much.
You know.
Well, that's another thing too.
And it brings like a special piece of horror where it's like that could happen to anyone. Like anybody could be stuck in a state that they don't know, and you could just be stuck in the wrong part of town, and you know,
run into the wrong kind of people.
Yep.
I mean, shit. Maybe lose my train of thought. I was gonna add to that. Shit. What was I gonna say? No. All right. Now I was gonna say. What's it called? No. I mean, I talked to people who were kind of like borderline horror fans. You know, they're not obsessed with it, but they'll watch it. You know, and they always say the same thing. The shit that can actually happen is more scary to them than, you know, Freddy, Michael, and all that other shit. You know, they find that more terrifying than that other shit. You know, which is true. You know,
Yeah.
which is true. You know, something like that. I mean, I'm kind of the same way. Where, yeah, that shit that like that like could happen. You know, I find that more exciting and more terrifying. You know, stuff like that. You know, I told you the last film that actually scared me when I went to see it was The Strangers. You know, and that shit, that was probably 2005, 2006, maybe. And so yeah, that was the last film that actually scared me. You know, again, like I said, small cast. 1, 2, 3, 6. It's a cast of 6.
Wait, for who? For Texas or for?
No, strangers. For strangers. Cast of 6. You know, and then like I said, couple and 3 people just terrorizing them. Terrorizing them. Like I said, and what do you call it? Like I said, and it gave me chills. You know, because the shit that we do. Because like I said, because the shit that we do. Like I said, when you have 3 different people, you know, surrounding you in your own home, you know, what you call it, not knowing where they're coming from, like that. And like I said, have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, me too. What you call it? Yeah, that second one was horrendous. I didn't like that second one. But yeah, just like you know how they were like moving around the house and shit like that, man. There were scenes where they were like in like the same room with them, but they wouldn't touch them. They just back off. Shit like oh, shit like that, man. I'm just like, oh, bro. Like I said, chills, chills. But yeah, movies like that, I really, really dig. You know, but of course, you know, I love my gory gothic stuff where blood is just sweating everywhere, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah, you know. Um, but that's just me. Like I said, I love all kinds of horror or subgenres of horror and stuff like that. But no, the real shit, the shit that can actually happen is always the most terrifying. You know, and I think that's the general consensus of anybody, horror fan or not. Last question: would you like to see the series go on and somebody else take a crack at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pick me. All right. You know what, man? I've seen all these fucking. Now, granted, I have never written or directed a film, but I know I can do better than this fucking slap shit, fucking David Blue Garcia, bro. I'm not gonna just call it. Like I said, pick me. Now I know nobody in Hollywood's gonna listen to this, you know. But if you know somebody that is in Hollywood. Tell them, hey, this guy is a real fan of the Texas stuff, man. Like I said, if you guys are gonna do it again, just give him a call. Like I said, you know my socials. You know, what do you call it? I'm serious, man. Like I said, I would take up that job. You know, I would quit everything and just devote my entire time to writing and directing a Texas Chainsaw, a good one. And you know what I would do? Like I said, I mean, if that magically were to happen, like I said, I would take. I would not do a reboot. Like I said, I wouldn't do a prequel. Like I said, I would pick up where which one where yeah, Texas 3D came out. So because that was the third part to the reboot. That was the Texas 3D was the third part to the reboot. What do you call it? So I would take it off from there. What do you call it? And what do you call it? And then just continue with that story, you know, and how Leatherface is, you know, a few years removed from that event. That's what I would do. Now, I'm just shooting the shit right now. What do you call it? But like I said, anybody out there want to give me a call? Tell me to start writing the script. I will do it. You know, just saying, man. But yeah, that is my last question. So, got any questions for me, sir?
No. What's the timeline on watching the 3D one?
That's the 3D one that's the third installment from the reboot. So it goes Texas Chainsaw the beginning, and then
what's your timeline to watch it?
Oh, when am I gonna watch it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta see where I can watch it. First, you know, wait, Leatherface. No, I'm trying to like because I also have to watch the original number 3, which I didn't watch, which I thought I did, but I didn't have to watch that one. Yeah, that one also is called Leatherface. So I gotta watch Leatherface, the original one. That was from 1990. And I have to watch Texas Chainsaw 3D. Mm-hmm. So I have to watch those two. But yeah, thank you for listening to me tell you about the history of this wonderful franchise that I adore so much. And dropping some knowledge on you cats, as I like to do on my podcast, especially when we do franchises and stuff like that. So just a heads up. Actually, no, I shouldn't even say because this isn't going up until October. So
you can still mention it.
No, because it'll be happen by the time this goes up. What do you call it? So anyway, I am Sinder. If you want, you can contact me at Instagram at Sinder666. Post about this very podcast and also my YouTube channel, also Cinder's Playground. Like I said, if you don't want to download an episode, you can catch these on the my YouTube channel. Same name, Cinder's Playground. What you call it? But yeah, if you want to get in contact with me, ask me anything, suggestions, show ideas, recommendations, you know, or how we can make the show better, let me know. What you call it? Throw it over to this guy.
And I'm Jose. You can follow me on Instagram at JoseCE90. Yeah. Go in the DMs, let us know. Give us a few messages, let us know what your favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre film is, or what you would like us to do any new episodes on, so we could follow up.
Yes. Like I said, always appreciate the interaction and stuff like that. And like I said, definitely, if you're not a social media person, you can always message me on the YouTube in the comments. Ask me anything. I'm constantly checking YouTube, believe it or not. You know, like I said, looking at my views. So, like I said, so I am on there and I am active. So until we speak again, I am Sinder. We will talk to you guys next time.
Peace out.